through the month of June and 4th of July knocking on our door. Sunny and very hot today. The forecast pretty much from today through the end of this week is very much the same. There's only about a 20% chance of rain tomorrow, but every single day this week we are looking at temperatures in the upper 90s, like 97 heat index. We're here in 105 to 110.
Woo!
That's incredibly hot, especially for those of you that have those outdoor jobs. Whether you're cutting lawns or you're doing something construction-wise or doing road work, this is a little dangerous. So take the breaks and drink the water and, all the fluids you need because this is nothing to play with. But very, very, very hot this week. Might get a little rain as we move toward the weekend, but that's further down the road, and we'll deal with that later. But all this week, just going to be incredibly hot.
Yeah, hydrate, people.
Yep.
That's how it is done. 8:07 with Dixon inviting Mr. Bugs. Those guys work outside sometimes. They got to do the mosquito reduction spraying. Then they do a little spraying around the outside of your house to keep the bugs on the outside, which is nice. Then they come inside to the cool area, and they make sure that they kill every single last insect that may be anywhere in there. They handle small rodent control as well and termite bonding. I tell you what, you can't beat it. It's all together, bundled and saving with Mr. Bugs, MRBUGGS. You can get them once a month or once every other month, once every 3 months. I do once every 3 months myself, once a quarter, we call it, because I don't need it more often than that. I thought I did, but they finally talked me down, and I'm using them once every 3 months now. They're doing a great job for me. I love them. Also coming into drain fly season, if you'd like to get rid of those, Mr. Bugs has the patented method to make that happen as well. MRBUGGS.com, MrBugs.com, 9416252. They know what bugs you.
And now, it's Dixon and Vining's top 3 things you need to know.
Well, the U.S. and Iran now have agreed to halt military attacks as they prepare to have some talks tomorrow. This is going to focus on the Strait of Hormuz. Now, what happened was our military had to conduct some strikes on Iran over the weekend after Iran launched a one-way attack drone that hit a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz on Friday. We're in a ceasefire, right? We're supposed to be in a ceasefire agreement right now.
Yep.
And Iran is sending these one-way drones to some of these ships out there. And you're just like, what are you doing? Exactly what we thought they would do is they would say during this memorandum of understanding that was reached, it was supposed to be a 60-day negotiating period where there is no firing. It's a ceasefire. And what do they do on Friday? They attack a ship. They absolutely did. So our military said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take out some communication. We're going to find out where that drone came from. We're going to attack that area. So multiple sites were hit on Saturday. If this isn't war, then I don't know what really war is, because you're not abiding by this ceasefire, and I don't know where we go with talks tomorrow. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel with Iran, other than at the very end we're going to be like, okay, well, we're just going to blow everything up.
Why do we agree to a ceasefire if we're not actually going to
have a ceasefire?
You know?
We are. We're doing a pretty good job to
Trying.
go. Look,
We're
going to if you're going to attack one of these ships that's in the Strait of Hormuz, well, then we're going to attack you. And that's what we're doing. And I guess you call it defensive, but it really isn't. It's more of an aggressive attack. But Iran, knock it off. And then we can have these discussions and figure out how we can maybe have peace in the Middle East. But the more they do this, the more people are like, you know what, Donald Trump, bomb them. Just be done with this. We're tired of it.
This is who we need negotiating. We need Larry Fine from the Three Stooges. Hey, come on, you guys, knock it off.
Something like that. The U.S. Supreme Court is close to ending their term. There are several major cases that are undecided or that they haven't released their findings yet in all of this. The big one that we're kind of watching is the one that has to do with birthright citizenship. There's also one on transgender athletes and digital privacy. Those are just some of them. After 9 o'clock today, our time, we could begin to see some of those decisions come down. And as they do, we'll keep you updated throughout the day and as we go through this week as the Supreme Court is about to end all of this. But, President Trump had a couple of victories last week. One was allowing to reinstate restrictions on asylum claims and end TPS. TPS is temporary protection status. This was for hundreds of thousands of migrants from Haiti and Syria, and that was a big feather in Donald Trump's cap. and glad to see that they ruled that way this past week.
Yeah.
So
He's going to get some wins and some losses, no question. I don't I don't know how this birthright citizenship thing is going to go. I'm not holding out a lot of hope that Trump gets his way on it.
hmm yeah, and all indications, some of the legal experts on this say, yeah, it's a little bit of a stretch, and I know that there's a lot of people that want for this to go a certain way, but we may have to figure out a different route around it because it's being abused. There's no question about it. The birthright citizenship, the way it was intended, is not the way that it's being used today, and we may have to do something to help correct that.
We shall see.
Yep. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is not too happy with Apple. They recently announced that they are going to raise prices on many of their products. And I know a lot of people that use Apple products are probably like, golly, really? You're going to go higher on this? She thinks the company should be split. This is what AOC thinks. Officials with Apple said the reason for the price increase is because of the difficulty in getting memory chips. Some of this is due to the rapid build out of data centers to power AI, which has helped for the demand for memory chips and kind of push that into high gear. Apple increased prices on some of their MacBook and iPads by $200. AOC has backed legislation with Bernie Sanders to impose moratoriums and things like that. I don't know how far that's going to go, but good luck to you, AOC. I mean, Apple's having to do what Apple has to do when you don't have the ability to get these memory chips and maybe produce as many things as you need to. You might have to raise the price on things, and that's the way things work sometimes.
If it's too expensive for you, don't buy it. Buy a cheaper Android version or something of that nature. Different tablet, Hewlett-Packard or whatever, and deal with that. But that's the economy. That's the way it works.
She doesn't seem to understand that.
Certainly, the government shouldn't be getting involved in price controls on technology.
No, the market will market will dictate that.
That's the only thing you can do. If you don't let the market dictate it, you are Venezuela eventually, because you do it on one thing and then you start doing it on other things, and the next thing you know, you're creating a world where people can't even afford to make and sell the items they want, and so you have nothing. It's basically how socialism ends up with nothing. Not something to write home about.
No, but she's all for it.
Yeah, she's a moron. It's difficult for me to believe that she actually has a bachelor's of economics from the University of New York. I'm just like, really? What are they teaching you? I would like to be a fly in the wall or on the wall in one of those classes and hear what they were teaching her, because her understanding of economics isn't even basic. She has no understanding of economics. Like when Amazon was coming to her district and they were going to set up, a warehouse, and she made so much noise and caused so much problems, and they said, never mind, we'll go somewhere else. Well, there was a whole bunch of really high-paying jobs that she could have had in her district that she chased off because she doesn't understand how economics works. She thought she thought, her district or New York was giving this company, Amazon, $1 billion, like they were just like writing them a check for $1 billion. No, it was like what we have here. It was $1 billion in mitigated taxes. But she was under the impression that they were just, there's so many things we could do with that $1 billion. No, that's not how that works at all.
No.
Again,
maybe she paid for that degree, Richard, rather than earning the degree.
That might very well be the case. Hate to hear it. 545-9950 if you'd like to chime in on it. They got a couple of interesting stories for you here. One of them, kind of a moral dilemma dealio. We'll have to break that out. This is a fun week because, people are traveling on vacation. More and more people are leaving the area. And they say, once again, despite high gas prices, we're going to have a huge number of people driving and flying to other parts of the country for the 4th of July. Okay, I love that. That's great. We have a smaller, more select audience.
Yeah, how about that?
But we still want you to participate. Stick around. Marty Robbins. See, All Marty Show. We heard Marty Ballin earlier. 819 Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Thanks for tuning in every day. We appreciate you being here, not just on a day like today, but every day. I met so many people a week ago at an event that I was emceeing where folks were just gushing over how much they love this radio station, and they really feel like it's, it's their station, like they own it, like they have some sort of ownership in it.
Well, they do. They're part of the family.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
Every one of you guys.
And then I asked if I could borrow some money, and they were like...
That was the end of
it.
Whoa. They're like, who are you?
I'm not like that close a family member. Come on. And then it was over.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, 821 Dixon and Vining, Talk 995, talk995.com.
I have a question for all of you. Do you have a financial plan put together? Put to bed where you don't have to worry about it. You're not laying awake at night thinking, am I going to have enough money in retirement? That's one portion of it. And I know a lot of people do stress out over that. If you maybe have some money in the market, but you're not sure that you've got it in the right place. Danny Knowles in the Knowles Group, if you got a chance this weekend, and I actually was in my car running around doing a couple of errands and caught about 30 minutes of the show, hearing Danny and the guys that are part of the Knowles Group talk about this, because there really are so many different aspects to this. And one of the big ones, too, is like health insurance. Have you kind of put that equation into your financial plan? Because that's a big one right now. There's other things. There's taxes to think about, Social Security. How does all of that come together? Well, Danny Knowles and the Knowles Group can help to make that happen. So that a little later on in life, and you may be one of those people that says, you know what, I want to work to this age and then I want to retire. I mean, maybe it's mid-50s, maybe it's late 50s. Maybe you're like, you know what, I love what I do, and I don't want to retire till I'm 70-something. Everybody's a little bit different, and that's why customizing a financial plan is important. So reach out to the Knowles Group, Knowles. The Knowles Group can help to put together this plan so you'll have a great roadmap as to where you're going. TheKnowlesGroup.com, that's the website, and again, it's Knowles. Get in touch with them today and get this done. TheKnowlesGroup.com.
Couple of political stories here, just little ones. John Cornyn decided to cast some shade at Americans supporting the Save America Act. That, of course, did not play well on X.
I guess not.
Interestingly, this guy, back when he thought there was some chance that he was going to get Trump's endorsement, he was all about the SAVE Act. And now suddenly, since he's lost his primary, not that interested in it anymore. He really wasn't before either. I think he would have been one of those guys who maybe took the endorsement and then, reversed on him or whatever, because I don't know what his problem is or why you wouldn't be for the SAVE Act. I can't imagine why anybody's against the SAVE Act, but here they are. Cornyn says this: I marvel at the keyboard warrior geniuses and grifters who are ignorant of Senate rules and precedents, who have miraculously become experts in its arcane rules, promising the moon and stars and yet destining Republicans for failure is a very selective way to demoralize our base. Yeah, what he gets in response from Jamie RJN. You do realize the keyboard warrior geniuses and grifters who are ignorant you so snidely refer to here, Senator Cornyn, are voters, the same voters who elected Trump in 2016 and gave him a majority in Congress just like 2024? Yeah. How about Election Wizard saying, I marvel at Rhino members who get crushed in their primaries and think they have anything of value left to offer the Republican Party. Wow.
Jeez.
Jim Verdi says, I marvel at feckless senators such as yourself who refuse to do whatever you can to pass common sense legislation that 90% of the country wants done just because you had your feelings hurt.
Oof.
SMD says, I marvel at a bitter washed up who who got crushed by nearly 30 points in his own primary and still has the gall to lecture everyone else about demoralizing the base. Oh, my. Yeah, folks, you put your opinion out there on X, and you will get slapped down hard if your opinion is stupid. If your opinion is strong and it's got some good backing, you'll just get the usual idiot Democrats who are just like, I know you are, but what am I? You're getting all your news from Fox. the stupid stuff that they say when they don't really have an answer or a response to what it is you're saying. This was a nice lesson for John Cornyn. I suspect he's going to stay off of social media for a while.
Probably should. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
It's a fairly serious.
No, he's probably too stupid to do that. He'll
Yeah.
turn right around and say something stupid again, I'm sure.
Might very well. Might very well.
And I think you're right. Both sides of the aisle, every American should be for the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
I still, I can understand that Democrats are digging in because they, again, hate Trump. But this is once again, about our country and our election, how our elections are run, and to make sure that our elections are secure.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you not want that? And anytime you have to ask that question, there's always one thing that comes back up.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the reason why. But again, it can work either way. An election like that can work either way. So be careful what you wish for. If you don't think that the Save America Act is a good piece of legislation to get through, well, just wait when one time it's an election that might not go your way.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you this. Florida tightened up their voting. That Florida was a purple state for a while there. And Walker, Lawton, Childs, you had some very moderate Republicans like Jeb Bush, who were governor. And then they got a little, Charlie Crist was, again, a moderate Republican. Then they got a little harder core. And next thing you know, you got Rick Scott in there. And Rick Scott was one of the first guys who said, we need to tighten up these voting rules. There's something funny going on here, especially after the 2000 election with the hanging chads and all of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. He said, we're going to go in, we're going to get everybody that's not supposed to be here off, and we're going to have 3 weeks of early voting, in person, by the way, but we're doing away with all this nonsense mail-in stuff or dropping off or whatever. We're not doing that anymore at all. It took about 3 years for Florida to become blood red. That's how much of a difference it made, tightening up the voting rules. And of course, a lot of people, were moving from blue states to there and so on and so forth. But the reality is, when you only have people who are supposed to vote voting, it changes the complexion of that race. And Ohio did something very similar, and they went from being one of those swing states, one of those purple states, to becoming a very red state. Now, Virginia actually loosened up their voter rolls. Guess what? They shifted from red to blue.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yeah, North Carolina's starting to see the same thing. It's like, guys, if you don't tighten up those voter rolls,
you're going to lose it.
You're going to find out where you stand. But you know what? They don't care. When we say the only reason that they don't want to pass this act is because they want to cheat, that's exactly what the reasoning is. They are afraid that they will never win another election outside of places like Colorado, California, New York, Washington State, Oregon. They may not even win all of the races in Washington State and Oregon any longer if you tighten up the voter rolls in those states. There's a real possibility that Republicans who have been marginalized all this time will come out in droves because they know their vote's going to count now.
Yep, that's exactly right. Thank goodness.
I cannot for the life of me understand why anybody would be against this act except for the cheating process. Former President Joe Biden back on stage at a Democratic Party gala, excoriating President Trump on Saturday, and then predictably turning into a Roomba when the speech was over.
It's the same thing we've seen over and over again. You almost don't need to see the video.
No, wandered about the stage for a bit, was asking somebody, is it this one? Is it that one? Which way am I getting? He finally found his way off, but good Lord. He ripped Trump for the deliberate destruction of NATO, and hammered Trump's White House ballroom as a vanity project, which of course is ridiculous. He's not even going to get to use it. By the time this thing is finished, he'll be leaving office. It's not a vanity project for him. It's he's trying to improve the living situation and the situation in the White House for his successors, like he's trying to straighten out Washington, D.C. for all of America.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
If that's your legacy. D.C.'s in a lot better shape than it was when Joe Biden was there, no question about it.
I'm worried about what happens when Trump leaves office.
Yeah, I'm concerned too.
There's
not another Republican following him.
There needs to be somebody who's going to keep their hand on the reins tight and make sure that the nation's capital stays clear, mostly crime-free, clean, and keep the homeless at bay, because it was really turning into a hellhole there, and nobody in power seemed to care. In fact, if anything, it looked like Muriel Bowser and the Washington, D.C. City Council were kind of in favor of these things. They kept making it easier and easier to be homeless and blocking paths, and easier to carjack and easier to get away with it. Finally, somebody with some common sense took the reins. That was good. America's 250th birthday. Stick around, Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. 835 Talk 995, talk995.com. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this radio station and a part of this beautiful day. We're getting up to 97 today. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's going to be hot. It's going to be warm. It's going to be something else, man. And that's going to happen pretty much every one of the days this week. And when that does happen, I stop and think about my friends at HHM Roofing and Construction. There's no hotter place to be in 97 degrees than on top of a roof, and yet these guys do it day in and day out because it's their job. It's what they know. It's who they are. And I love that about them, that they're willing to get up there and make it happen, whether you're talking about an inspection or you're talking about some repairs. Maybe you need an entirely new roof installed because the old one is just old. Maybe you want to change things up. Maybe you're interested in getting like metal roofing. They do all of it. They do that. They do, metal shingles, you name it. You're going to love the different variety of styles available. And they're not shy about pricing. A lot of these roofers are just going to hang back on the price until the last minute. No. They have an instant estimator right there on your website to give you an idea of what is going to run you. HHM Roofing and Construction. Ryan and his lovely bride are just as transparent and honest as they can be. 396-7077, 396-7077. You're looking for somebody who's going to be straightforward. Of course, there's financing available. Somebody who's going to be 100% honest with you and truthful with you throughout the entire process. Then you have found them. HHM Roofing and Construction, hhmroofs.com, hhmroofs.com, 396-7077. All right, I did this. I mentioned this back at about 6:15 this morning, and I want to say it again because I think it bears repeating. If you have not yet taken a look at some of the YouTube videos of Europeans enjoying America, not just the food. There's a lot of them where people are enjoying the food, and that's fine. That's good. I don't have anything against that at all. I love it. But they're going other places, seeing other things, experiencing things that they don't have in their country, and loving it, and loving it, and loving the people that they're meeting, and loving how kind everybody is and the great hospitality that they are receiving. And I think it's just wonderful that we are able to see our country through other eyes, especially because so many of them throw in this one little line: we've been lied to. We've been lied to about America all this time. They don't really expand on it. They don't say what they were told. I know one that I saw over the weekend did talk about how we were told that it was full of criminals and we were going to be robbed as soon as we, stepped off the plane or the train, that, it was a filthy place and it was, money grubbing and whatever. And instead, they find a wonderful, clean country that has people that are very welcoming to them, some experiences that they have never had, things like air conditioning. So I thought it would be fun to assign you, the listener, a task to go watch some of these videos. Find them on YouTube. Just type in Europeans discuss America. I don't know. Europeans discover America, whatever. And you're going to find a load of these things because there's lots of mashups. There's single videos. There's one British couple that has gone everywhere and done everything. And they are so fun and so funny because they're just so absolutely thrilled by every experience. And I remember being that way when I was walking around Dublin. I was just like, oh my God, like right in the middle of a busy city, there's this gorgeous park and it's walled off and there's all this greenery and you can't even tell that you're in the middle of the city. It's about 4 square blocks and it was just a most beautiful, wonderful, and it was on my birthday and I was just like, this is like the best little secret I could have ever uncovered. I was so happy to be there and enjoy it and see the Irish people out in 60 degrees in their shorts, throwing Frisbees back and forth. And I was just like, oh, this is a warm day for them. But I get it. I get being excited about seeing and doing new things. But I want you to watch these specifically so that you can renew your own love of America. When you watch these videos and you see other people loving what they're doing, you should come up with a list of anywhere from 1 to 5 things that you love about America, and they can be simple, stupid things. You know, it doesn't matter. One video was oh gosh, I don't know if he was from Norway or Denmark. I can never tell. But he said, it's no wonder nobody takes the train here. This country is much bigger than I ever imagined. And I thought, yeah, on a map, you know, it's just a map. You don't really think about it. When you get here and you realize, I think there's a line in Spinal Tap where Janine was going to come visit David St. Hubbins. And he said, well, I'm not really sure how you get here. You might have to just land in New York and drive to Milwaukee from there. And I was like, Milwaukee? They have no concept of how big this place is. No concept, which was pretty cool. The British couple I was talking about, they were in an RV and they were driving because they were Irish. They were following the Irish, and they went from Boston and drove all the way down the coast to Miami.
Oh my gosh!
To be at yeah.
Oh my!
But they
goodness.
made all these stops along the way,
Yeah.
you know, and they just
You can make it fun.
yeah, and they loved everything that they saw, and they slept in the RV and you know camping spots and stuff like that. Like I said, they just tickle me because they're just so excited about everything. They're like puppies, you know.
It's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, well, I think it's great, and I think if we all just took a minute to watch and access some of these things, you'll come up with, you know, something is air conditioning. I'm thankful for air conditioning. Believe it or not, it's not everywhere.
How about having a vehicle that you can drive from point A to point B?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
not every country do you have the ability to do that.
that is true. That
or
is
the
very true.
gas stations on every corner.
Low-priced gas. When you think about how much gas is, and you know, and you go like, oh my gosh, it's $7 a gallon. No, that's for a liter.
Liter.
That's a liter.
Mhm.
They do it in liters. You're like, how's anybody driving? They're not. Of course, you also live in cities that are very walkable over there, which makes a lot of difference. But anyway, just because later this week, I think for the 2nd of July, as we're going into 4th of July weekend, we should probably make that day all about what you love about America. It's our 250th birthday. That's a pretty big deal that we, A, managed to create a republic, and B, keep it this long. Have we had our problems? Yeah, we had this little thing called the Civil War. You might remember that. It was in all the papers. Remember the papers?
Yeah, barely.
I've heard about them.
We were in World War II, and then we had a thing called Vietnam, and of course the Korean police action and all that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We haven't been without our bumps and, you know, little problems along the way, but we have somehow managed to maintain this very same form of government, this constitutional republic, for 250 years coming up this Saturday. That is not a small feat. And so take some pride in it, and then figure out what it is you really love about this country, because you should love everything about this country, frankly, except for the air conditioning in this room.
Mhm.
That's the problem.
Thank
That's
goodness for the
only-
cool air in the hall. We'll take that, right?
We'll take whatever we can get, man.
Absolutely, we will.
Anything we can get. And also, thank God, we work mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Just
by
later in the day.
by the afternoon,
Might need to get a fan in here this week.
April Marie just melts.
Bless her
Because
heart.
she's made of sugar. 844, your thoughts are always welcome. 545-9950 if you'd like to chime in on anything that you hear here today. I've got something of a moral dilemma, a moral question
Oh boy.
that is deserving of our time and attention. I'm going to bring it up next, and then we'll see how you feel on the subject. But it's one of those live and learn deals. It's one of those tough love situations, and it's something you need to know about. Stick around. Maha Monday at the Great American State Fair. I'm guessing this is not the day to go get a corn dog. and
Maybe
an
not so
elephant
much.
ear.
Yeah.
Probably not going to get a funnel cake on Maha Monday. Sort of unfair. Let me guess your
I
weight.
want to see the Alabama. I keep looking for the Alabama. They're showing all these other states. Where's Alabama?
Come on. We're first
South
alphabetically.
Carolina. Come on. Is it on the other side of the lawn?
We're first
Where are
alphabetically.
we?
Come on, break
Come
it out.
on.
Let's go.
What do we got in our little
Unless
booth?
they haven't really put that in alphabetical order, though.
No, maybe
not.
not.
Maybe
I
they
don't know,
did
but
it
they
in
haven't
the order.
shown it.
Maybe they did it in the order the states became states.
Mm.
And if so, then the first several booths are empty. We told you 10 states are boycotting.
No one's there representing,
Yeah.
which is you're just terrible.
You're a truly awful
That's
person.
just terrible. Right. What would
Speaking-
Charles Barkley say?
Speaking of terrible.
Terrible.
Speaking of terrible, in an essay for Business Insider, Cheryl Maguire explained how she and her 21-year-old daughter had a nostalgic trip to Turks and Caicos on the calendar with plans to recreate photos from past trips to the island. Okay, first off, if you've been to Turks and Caicos more than once, you've got some money.
Yeah, that's not a cheap trip.
No. Everything on that island is expensive because it all has to be shipped in,
That's right.
so it's a little costly. Upon getting ready for the island vacation, the Gen Zer realized, this would be the daughter, that she had left her passport behind in her New York City apartment with no option to get it to Boston, where the duo was flying out from in time for their scheduled flight. Since this was a grand opening, changing the trip plans wasn't an option. If it hadn't been tied to an event, I probably would have rescheduled, McGuire said. But because it was involved, she just left her daughter behind.
Now remember, she's 21.
Yep.
That's an important part to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times when you hear this story, you're like, well, how old was the daughter?
Mm-hmm.
12.
Adult.
21.
She was an adult.
So mom stressed how she felt bad for leaving her daughter behind, but clearly not enough to cancel the trip. Seems a 21-year-old is known for being forgetful, and according to her mom, she has improved her ways. Regardless,
Since
when this mom's story went live over the weekend, it made its way to X, shared by user TableSalt13, and the reaction online is quite mixed. Above a screenshot of the story, the user wrote, "They're calling it the most boomer story of all time," and a slew of commentators shared their thoughts. One joked, "That daughter just learned 2 lessons. Always check your passport and choose the nursing home very carefully."
Oh.
Another was shocked that the daughter couldn't simply hop on a different flight after retrieving her passport. Daughter couldn't just reschedule? Why would I expect my mom to lose a bunch of money for my screw-up? Another agreed with mom's difficult decision. I did the same thing to a friend. We were going to Florida. As we were checking in our flight, she found out she didn't bring her passport.
Yeah, why should you both suffer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Another quip, isn't the whole point of the trip to spend time together? Guess if you're rich and spend all your time together and daughter is irresponsible, there could be a valuable lesson. But she also learned when you screw up, your family ditches you to prioritize pleasure. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I asked my 10
what
kids.
do you do? Really? What would you do? It's a trip. It's you and your 21-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw this in. There's probably some history here that we don't know about these two. Okay.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed.
As anybody would know, they're
Mothers and daughters.
yeah. There's that, and then maybe she tried to tell this daughter 10 times before they left,
Mm-hmm.
don't forget your passport.
forget your passport.
Because you can't do anything if you don't have your passport.
Right.
So maybe mom said it not once, not twice, but like I said, a dozen times, to the point where she's like, really, you forgot the passport. And I've told you 12 times, don't forget the passport. And she forgot it. So she just said, well, okay,
Yep.
I'm going on.
Yeah, I mean, if she doesn't have a star ID, she couldn't even make it through security. So, forget about actually taking a trip to Turks and Caicos. You weren't even going to make it to the plane. The boarding
You were
gate
dead in
not
the water.
going to happen. So, yeah, and I understand that completely, and that is sort of the tough love, especially after you've, reminded somebody multiple times. I don't know what they did.
It says in the story.
Yeah.
She said, that's why I asked my kids 10 times on the way to the airport if they had their passports.
No, that wasn't her. That was somebody else
Somebody
commenting
else?
on
Oh,
X.
okay,
And I'm
okay.
thinking, you don't ask that on the way to the airport. You ask that at home.
Right. Well, and
Double check everything, most importantly, your passport.
the other thing that I think some people would do, and again, this is a part of letting go, is that the parent would be like, everybody give me the passports. I'm going to be in charge of all the passports. so we don't have somebody that's lost them and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at 21 years old, you got to there has to be a point where you let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
That's right. You're going to look, you're supposed to be an adult here.
You know?
And now you're missing out on this trip. Sorry about that. Sorry. But when you are reminded and you forget something very important, there's a name for that. It's called pulling a John Bird. And this is exactly what this poor girl did.
Wow. Is that what we're going to call it now?
Well, at least one of us on this show is.
Just having some fun. Just having some fun with Johnny. He loves me, I bet.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that this mother said it so many times that she said, well, okay, well, this is where I get on the plane. I'll see you in a week.
Exactly.
Toodles.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't do that to, if I was with, we'll say, a significant other.
Yeah,
As if
I
there was
think
such a thing.
if the, maybe you were with an elderly parent, you were trying to go somewhere, you had a very, obviously somebody
very young child,
younger, there'd be some circumstances. But the fact that she was 21 years old and
If it were
an
me
adult,
and my 30-year-old daughter and she forgot her passport, I
you'd
would
be like, see ya.
see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Call Uber. They'll take you back home.
Of course, I'm used to traveling alone. I mean, I travel alone quite a bit, and I love it. You're not on anybody else's schedule.
You can do
There
what
was-
you want to do.
Yeah, there was a thing that I blew off in Ireland that I kind of felt bad about, but I had already walked 8 miles the day before and 12 miles that day, and I was like, I just don't have it in me. It was going to
didn't
be a
feel
pub
like doing
crawl,
it.
and I was like,
Yeah.
I know I already paid for this, but I'm blowing it off. I'm just going to hang around here, and I'm eating at the pub like right across the street. That's where I'm going. And you don't feel beholden to anybody else. You're able to go and see the things you want to see and do the things you want to do. And I always try to schedule no more than 2 good events during a day and leave space for that pop-up thing that's a surprise that you like the park I was talking about. There's, walking into a park in the middle of Dublin and just being like, holy mac.
And I would think, like the Dublin vacation, that would be a little different than Turks and Caicos, because I took that trip and had a car and was able to see parts of the island, but it's not like being in Ireland where there's a lot of things you want to see in Ireland.
That's true.
The Turks trip is more of a, hey, we're going to take a sailboat out, or I'm going to be on the beach. Let's go up to the pool and get a pina colada or whatever. It's a little bit more laid back where you don't have to schedule events each day.
Hang out at the resort, go back to the
There's
ATM
plenty to do
again.
there. Yeah.
They love the American dollar, though, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Okay.
Tip them well,
I bet.
and they'll take good care of you.
Kyle says, when I realized how much America meant to me and my family was when my grandmother was watching the movie Titanic. The part where she cried the hardest was the scene where Rose is coming up into New York and shows the picture of her looking up at the Statue of Liberty. That's how much I knew I loved America. I cried the hardest at the part where he was drawing her like one of his French girls because she's a little chunky. And so I sobbed uncontrollably.
Really? That was
at
the
that
one,
point.
yeah.
I was a little upset about the whole thing.
I cried the hardest when the movie started.
Oh, Steve. Wow.
Donna says, I bet she didn't forget her cell phone.
I bet you $1,000 she had that cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly right.
More than likely, the daughter blamed her mom for not packing her passport for her. Is that not how kids are today, or young adults, rather? Actually, they lived in 2 separate places. So, no, I don't think she really did blame her mom for that. She probably had to take the hit and just go, yep, I'm a moron. I completely forgot. My bad. Won't happen again. Brian says, what would be a bigger 250 birthday present for America than the Supreme Court ruling in Trump's favor on birthright citizenship? Yeah, I would agree. That would really be something. In addition to having the Great American Sleepover going on right now, that we have got the World Cup here, and the world is coming to our doorstep to hang out for our 250th birthday party is awesome. If we were to get a ruling like that, that would literally be the icing on the cake, the birthday cake, icing on the 250th birthday cake,
That'd be nice.
And that's a lot of candles. You
That
don't
is
like
a lot
those.
of candles.
Just get the ones that are like a 2, a 5, and a 0. Light those up. We'll be fine. 545-9950 should you wish to opine.
Can I share this with you?
Please.
That I was telling you was watching the Travelers golf tournament yesterday, and that Scotty and Hovland were in a tie, minus 21. Hovland's won because they had to go back out this morning because of them 21 under, and so he is the champion of the tournament. So I'm sure the Norwegians went absolutely nuts. They were in the crowd yesterday.
Oh, I bet they were.
Because of the soccer. And every time he made a good shot, it was like an eruption happened. So I don't know if they were back out there this morning, but he's the champion of the tournament.
Scotty's somehow going to have to scrape by with a slightly smaller check.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
That first place is like $1 million, $1.5 million. They don't tell you. So second place is $1.2 million.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
I mean, I was
but
told.
He hasn't. It's just been these last few tournaments where he started out this year really rough.
Very rough.
He wasn't playing very well, but he's starting to get back on his game.
Still considered to be one of the, if not the best golfer in the world right now. He's
just don't watch his footwork
top four.
Because every pro will tell you, what is that? But it works for him.
Yeah,
it works. It works. Just don't follow it.
Try not to question the mechanics of the people that are doing it well.
Doing it well.
You know?
It's like, well, I need to do that.
You see that sometimes with major league batters. Every batting coach will be like, "Okay, don't do what he's doing. That's exactly wrong."
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you shouldn't do. Well, it's working for him. Why can't I do that?
Runs. Don't do it that way. Don't do the jump shot like he does.
I bet there are golf pros all over the country that are like, "Yeah, don't do it like that." No, but I want to hit it like Scotty. Don't do your feet like that.
It's a bad idea. Learn the fundamentals before you start breaking them. It's 9 o'clock. Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, Talk 99.5.